Warning: the following episode contains elements of horror that may be unsuitable for listeners under the age of 13. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Beyond the Bizarre, a podcast curated to all things, well, bizarre. My name is Brianna, and I will be sharing with you urban legends, lore, ghost stories, and more from around our planet. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Bizarre. I'm Brianna, your host, and we're here for the 10th episode of our season 2 of the podcast. So we're finally in the month of September. Summer, in my opinion anyway, is gone. September is here. Fall is here. So it can be like 90 degrees outside, and in my mind, it's still fall. My apartment's decked out in fall. Pumpkins, leaves, scarecrows, everywhere. So yeah, I'm super ready. I already have a bunch of bags of Halloween candy, fruit roll-ups, all of that stuff, which will probably be gone by October. So I probably have to make another store run or just stop eating it before I lose my teeth. But yeah, episode 10 of season 2, first episode for the month of September. I hope you guys all enjoyed our end of summer horrors, our past 3 episodes for the last 3 weeks. I hope you guys all enjoyed those. We really love doing a little theme episode, so I hope you guys liked it. And if you guys want us to do kind of themed months or themed segments in the future, just don't hesitate to let us know. Send us a DM on Instagram or hit us up on our website, email, beyondthebizarre@gmail.com. You know, whatever you guys want, we're more than, willing to give if we can. So here on Beyond the Bizarre, we talked about a lot. We talk about ghosts, urban legends, hauntings, lore, rituals, but one thing we don't really talk about are creatures. So you already know what tonight's episode is going to be about, a creature. Now for this creature, I can't really state if it's real or not, because when I did research on it, it sounds like it was a fabrication, or not so much as a fabrication, but a creation. So it may or may not be real, but I kind of think that every rumor kind of has a basis in truth, so it could be true, could be not, who's to say. But with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. So tonight's episode, we're going to talk about the infamous Batboy. So the infamous Batboy first came about through U.S. tabloids, United States tabloids. So those little magazines that are in the checkout counter that have those outrageous headlines, the fake stories, like, some celebrity weight gain or weight loss, or someone in the royal family being like a lizard monster. Yeah, those. So the tabloids are mostly made up of fake stories that are kind of set up to read as real stories. You get the drift. So the infamous Batboy first appeared in a tabloid in the year 1992. More specifically, the tabloid known as the Weekly World News. I'm going to abbreviate it as WWN just to make it shorter. So the WWN was the first to publish the story about the Batboy. The infamous Batboy was created by WWN News editor Dick Culpa. Now when I Googled it, I knew I've seen it before, so you most likely have seen it as well at some point or another in your life. The boy is characterized as having sharp teeth, pointy ears, and large eyes that can see in the dark. So if you Google it, well, you don't have to. I've included the picture in our title card for this week's episode. So yeah, that's Batboy. So Batboy was the creation of WWN, but of course they included a whole backstory, a bunch of information to really sell it as being real. So where did they state that they found Batboy? Well, per the tabloid, he was found in a cave in Pendleton County, West Virginia. They stated that he was dwelling in a quote-unquote hellhole and was found by Dr. Ron Dillon. So the Batboy's living in a cave, as bats tend to do. The article in the WWN shared that the Batboy was captured by explorers after being discovered in the underground cave. The story really gained traction and, in today's terms, went viral well beyond the time of social media. So it kind of spread like wildfire, without the use of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. It really just gained traction just from it being in that simple tabloid. So through the capture, researchers and reporters quickly learned that Batboy has a bit of a mischievous, elusive nature. So he's known to be on the lam frequently. He will disappear for extended periods of time and reappear again. He's known to be a bit of a trickster and has even managed to commit a little grand theft auto as a method to escape more elusively. So they'll be looking for him to probably be on foot, be flying in the sky at nightfall, what have you. But no, he's out here, stealing some cars. Bad boy can drive. So I just have one question, I'm a cornball because the first thing that came to my mind was Batmobile. I'm sorry. Starting over. So back to about Batboy. So when the explorers first found the boy in the cave, they estimated that he was around the age of 10. It was Dr. Ron Dillon that coined the boy's infamous description of being a human-bat hybrid. Dr. Dillon hypothesized that the boy's father was either a bat or a creature with heavily dominated bat genomes, while the mother, named Susan Boy, was a human woman. So we have some bat-like creatures out here, which actually does remind me, I actually forgot about this recently. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was either earlier this year or back last year in 2020. I don't know, ever since the pandemic hit, my years have kind of just melded together. I don't even know, but I think it was either in, New Zealand or Portugal. I know they're far away, but that's where my brain is pulling me. But there were these super huge bats. They were as tall as people and they had super massive wings. So I wonder if that could have been the type of creature that could be the father of our Batboy. And these weren't fake pictures. These were actually real pictures. So that's why I say, even though they created this, story out of thin air by the editor, maybe there is some truth there. The WWN went on to discover more about the boy's genealogy. The tabloid published an old chart that depicted the entire genealogy of the Batboy. Now, this chart that they shared dated all the way back to the 17th century and also uncovered a hidden history of the U.S. that showed the actual existence of bat hybrid people. So, now this is kind of my conspiracy side talking. What if this is something that WWN actually discovered, but they kind of had to pass it as tabloid? Because let's just face it, back in 1992, people probably weren't as open-minded as they are now to accept this as being true. But there could definitely be some truth here. I've always been a believer on the outrageous stories that I see on tabloids, like UFOs and things like that. I really do at times believe that they are true. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do have a podcast called Beyond the Bizarre for a reason, so I believe in things that are bizarre. This same chart also indicated that the breeding of bat-like creatures with human beings dating back to as early as the landing of the Mayflower in the United States. So it's likely through evolution that the Batboy that was discovered by the WWN is a more advanced, more intelligent version of his species, which in a way makes him more dangerous. He's already stealing a car, and on top of that, he enjoys to drink human blood, preferably through a silly straw, because of course he's a 10-year-old boy after all. So over the years, the Batboy has been very popular, especially in popular culture. So he's made appearances in shows such as The Simpsons and had a speaking role on a 2010 episode of the show American Dad. There's even been a musical inspired by Batboy. And while amongst all this, the tabloid has managed to keep us abreast on the ins and outs of the life of Batboy. In the years since the Batboy's discovery, he has been reportedly to have met Elvis, which is interesting, announced his candidacy for president. I didn't hear about that, but that's cool. And supposedly has dated J-Lo, which I didn't hear about that either, but bragging rights to him. So I think it's safe to say that the public really loves Batboy, and the fascination around him has just grown over the years. He really has taken on a life of his own and is a staple in popular culture and probably always will be. When asked in an interview with Vice on what he thinks makes Batboy so influential, Dick Culpa stated that he feels its connection. The face of Batboy just connects with us. We see the emotion in his face. Maybe he is the reflection of millions or billions. And I do somewhat agree with him. There has to be some type of like connection, that we feel to keep this legacy of his alive. Because that's what it is. It's a legacy. Like from 1992 to now, he's been in and out popular culture. Everyone's pretty much familiar with who Batboy is. And when you see him, like, you would think that it would freak you out. And it may freak some people out, but when I saw it, I didn't feel freaked out. I just felt that, it's just a person, just a different looking person. And I think that's what Dick Culpa meant by the connection that people feel. And it could also be that it's a child, and us being human, we're conditioned a certain way to be a certain way with children, no matter what they look like. So that could also be a major component as to why he's been so popular. So maybe it's just the tabloid doing its job here, doing what it's supposed to do. But personally, I believe that Batboy exists. Like I said, I've been a kind of conspiracy theorist on tabloids such as Weekly World News and similar tabloids, National Enquirer and things like that. I do believe that they do publish some stories that are true, but they kind of do it under a cover where, they say that, it's just something that we made up, because let's just face it, the public is probably not ready to know that these type of things exist. But of course, the year 2020 alone showed us that there are many creatures in this world that we are just, oblivious to, or have been oblivious to up until this point. Like, I believe 2020 gave us some of the creatures that dwell at the bottom of the ocean. It gave us the human-sized bat creatures that I had mentioned earlier. It gave us sharks inside of volcanoes. Just things that, we weren't aware of, that, sound like they have been pulled directly from a headline of a tabloid magazine such as National Enquirer or Weekly World News. And they're actual scientists saying that these things exist, the sharks and volcanoes and the human-like bats. These are actually being discovered by scientists, not in National Enquirer or Weekly World News. So it just makes you want to go back and just see if you can pull up archives from all these old magazines and see the creatures that they had supposedly stated that they made up as just a cover. And it makes you wonder, are these creatures real? Is Batboy really a real creature? And from what I saw with that human-sized bat, the literal Batman, I say that he probably is real. Now, is he out here running for president and doing all those other things? I mean, he could be not. Who's to say? I don't know. But, I do believe that there's some type of truth there, because crazy discoveries are made every day. They make all these movies like Sharknado. I'm not going to say there can't be sharks and tornadoes, because at this point I believe just about anything. But, the sharks and the volcanoes really took me out, because I'm just that's crazy. That's something you would think of in a sci-fi movie or on the cover of some quote-unquote bogus tabloid. But no, it's real. So, like I said, even though it may sound outrageous, nothing's impossible. And another thing that really makes me believe in it is that the fact they have the whole genealogy chart. Now, yeah, they could have just made a bogus chart, but they pinpointed specific time periods like the 17th century, the Mayflower coming to the colonies. Just they pinpointed particular time frames as to when all of this occurred. Sorry, I think I hit my mic. I'm sorry. Yeah, but when all of this had occurred, when, pretty much to pinpoint the evolution of the 10-year-old Batboy. And then we have the drinking the human blood. Now, the silly straw was a bit of a cute touch. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit of a chuckle out of that. But the drinking human blood kind of goes back to, of course, the vampire lore, where vampires are known to turn into bats on occasion. So we kind of have that lore also tied into it as well. Which, as I said before, and I'll say it again, I'll say it every time, I do believe most of these like urban legends, lore, creatures like vampires, witches, werewolves, all of that stuff, I do believe that there is some form rooted in truth, because no one wakes up and just makes up stuff like this. Like, something had to influence it, something that they've seen or witnessed or experienced had to have influenced a creation. And I think the same thing kind of goes for Batboy. I think that someone ran across him, experienced him, seen him, and just went on to tell a story, kind of like another popular urban legend of West Virginia, Mothman. I'm not going to get too much into him because we could possibly do an episode on Mothman in the future, but it's just like that. Like, people have seen him. People said he predicts impending doom. And it just went to take a life of its own and surged into popularity. And even, like, Batboy influenced musicals and had episodes, TV episodes dedicated to him. Mothman influenced the whole entire film franchise. So it's just crazy how these creations, so-called creations that aren't supposed to be real, influence all of these urban legends and rumors. And once again, how people can just supposedly wake up one day and just come up with these ideas. Like, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't. I mean, unless they're just really creative people. I don't want to say that people can't be that creative, but it's just a bit out there. And I thought the same thing about another recent internet creation. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a creature because it's not really a creature, but Slenderman. It's more of an urban legend, but that also was created from the internet, and fortunately led to the attempted murder of a young girl by two of her friends. And they said that, pretty much that Slenderman, they were doing it to appease him, and the creator of Slenderman came out there and said, no, this is of my creation, this is my own thing, there's no Slenderman, blah blah blah. But I absolutely think that there is. I think that maybe the creator could have tapped into something that he may not have personally been aware that he was tapping into when he created it, maybe some energy, but there's something definitely dark, like, in that creation. So, there may be some type of energy we don't know, but there was definitely something there, and I definitely believe that there's more to it, to that particular lore. But like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into that either, because we could do a future episode on it, so don't want to give too much of my thoughts on that. But I will be here to give my thoughts on everything else, especially the topics of our many upcoming episodes that we hope to do in the future here at Beyond the Bazaar every Tuesday. So with that being said, come back next week for a new episode of Beyond the Bazaar. And until then, you already know, stay bizarre and have a good night.